The note is a key to a vault that contains the secret to unlocking immense power. Power that could reshape the world. Marcus felt like the ground was slipping out from under him. A vault? Immense power? It all sounded too impossible to believe. And Daniel's group wants this power for themselves? Devon asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. Rainey nodded. They believe they can control it, use it to bend the world to their will. But they're wrong. The power in that vault isn't something that can be controlled. If they succeed in unlocking it, it could spell the end of everything. Marcus's blood ran cold. The end of everything? The stakes had just been raised to a level he hadn't even considered. This wasn't just about him anymore. It was about the world. So what do we do? Marcus asked, his voice shaking. Rain's gaze hardened. We stop them. We find the vault before they do, and we make sure that power stays buried. Marcus's mind raced as the implications of Rainey's words sank in. The note was no longer just a cryptic message. It was the key to something that could destroy the world if it fell into the wrong hands. And now, they were racing against time to stop a powerful organization from unlocking that power. But there was still so much Marcus didn't know. Where was the vault? How did they even begin to find it? And could Rainey really be trusted? Devon seemed to share Marcus's doubts. How do we know you're telling the truth? He asked, his tone skeptical. You could be leading us into a trap. Rainey didn't flinch. You don't. But I have more experience dealing with this kind of threat than you do. And right now, I'm your best shot at surviving. Marcus exchanged a glance with Devon, his mind torn between doubt and desperation. He had no reason to trust Rain, but at this point, he didn't have many options. Okay, Marcus said finally, his voice steadying. What's the next step? Rainey nodded, as if she had expected this response. First, we need to decode the rest of the note. It contains a set of coordinates, the location of the vault, but they're hidden in a cipher that only a few people in the world know how to crack. Devon frowned. And let me guess, those people aren't exactly easy to find. Rainey smirked. You catch on quick. Marcus exhaled, the weight of their new mission settling heavily on his shoulders. Decoding the note, finding the vault, stopping a global catastrophe, it was all happening so fast. But there was no turning back now. Where do we start? Marcus asked, his resolve hardening. Rain's eyes gleamed with determination. We start with the person who wrote the note. And so, the journey continued, the mystery deepening and the stakes growing higher with every passing moment. Marcus had no idea what lay ahead, but one thing was certain: the conflict was far from over. As the group settled into their temporary refuge within the abandoned warehouse, tension hung in the air like a thick fog. Marcus could feel the weight of the world pressing down on him, each moment pregnant with uncertainty and potential disaster. With the revelation that the note contained coordinates to a vault holding unimaginable power, every choice they made felt crucial. The stakes were higher than ever, and the shadow of the organization hunting them loomed larger with each passing hour. Rainey quickly gathered her thoughts and started to sketch out a plan on an old piece of cardboard she found lying in the warehouse. The makeshift map depicted the coordinates written in the note, and Marcus leaned in, his heart racing as he focused on her instructions. To decipher the coordinates, we need to find Dr. Amelia Rourke, Rainey said, tapping a spot on the map. She's one of the few cryptographers who can break the cipher. The problem is, she's in hiding, and Daniel's organization is already aware of her location. Marcus exchanged worried glances with Devon. How are we supposed to find her before they do? Rain's eyes narrowed, determination etched on her face. I have a contact who can lead us to her, but it won't be easy. We have to move fast. Then let's go, Devon urged, his voice filled with urgency. We can't waste any more time. Rainey nodded, her expression hardening with resolve. We need to head to the East End. It's a risky area, and Daniel's men are probably already searching for us, but it's our best shot." As they prepared to leave the warehouse, Marcus felt a knot form in his stomach. The danger was palpable, but the clock was ticking. If they didn't act soon, the power of the vault could fall into the wrong hands, and he couldn't let that happen. The trio made their way through the back streets, ducking into alleyways and taking obscure routes to avoid being spotted. The once familiar city felt foreign and hostile, shadows lurking at every corner. Every sound sent Marcus's heart racing. Each whisper of the wind felt like an omen. They reached a decrepit apartment complex that seemed to sag under its own weight. Rainey led the way, her instincts guiding them as they approached a door at the back of the building. "Is this it?" Marcus asked, glancing nervously at Devon. Rainey nodded, her expression serious. "This is where Amelia is supposed to be. But we need to be cautious. If Daniels is already on her trail, we might not be the only ones looking for her." Devon's face paled slightly. "What if she's not here? What if we're walking into a trap?" Rain's gaze hardened. "We can't think like that. We have to take risks if we want to stop this." Marcus nodded, steeling himself for what lay ahead. They had come too far to turn back now. The tension mounts. As they knocked on the door, the anticipation was almost unbearable. Marcus's heart raced, and he could feel the tension crackling in the air. What if Amelia wasn't there? What if they walked into a confrontation with Daniels's men instead? The door creaked open, revealing a frail woman in her 60s, with tousled grey hair and deep-set eyes that sparkled with intellect. "Rainey?" she asked, her voice a mixture of surprise and wariness. "Dr. Rourke," Rainey replied, stepping inside quickly and beckoning Marcus and Devon to follow. "We need your help." Amelia's gaze darted between them, assessing the situation. "I thought you were in hiding. What's happened?" Rainey wasted no time explaining the situation, recounting the note, the vault, and the impending threat from Daniel's organization. Amelia listened intently, her expression growing more serious with every word. "You're saying the note leads to the vault?" she asked, rubbing her temples as if trying to process the information. "Yes, and we need to decode it before they do," Marcus interjected, feeling the weight of urgency behind his words. Amelia hesitated, her gaze drifting toward the window. "You don't understand the implications of what you're dealing with. This power, it could change everything, and not for the better." "We know," Devon said, his voice steady. "But we can't let it fall into the wrong hands. We need your expertise." Amelia sighed, weighing her options. "Fine, I'll help you, but we need to act quickly. If Daniels finds out I'm here, it could endanger us all." The climax approaches. Amelia moved to a cluttered desk and pulled out a worn notebook filled with symbols and codes. "The note you have is encoded in a cipher that I've seen before, but it's intricate. We'll need to work together to break it." As they gathered around the desk, Marcus felt a mix of hope and dread. Each second that ticked by felt like a countdown to their doom or their salvation. The atmosphere in the room was electric, charged with possibility and fear. "Okay, let's get started," Rainey said, her voice steady. "Marcus, Devon, you can help by keeping watch. We need to make sure we're not interrupted." Marcus nodded, adrenaline coursing through his veins as he took a position by the window, peering out into the dimly lit street below. Time seemed to stretch as they worked on the cipher, Amelia furiously scribbling notes, while Rainey occasionally looked over her shoulder, offering guidance and insight. Minutes turned into hours, and the tension in the room was palpable. Every creak of the building felt like an approaching threat. Every passing car outside echoed like an omen. Suddenly, the door burst open. Before Marcus could react, a group of men, all dressed in dark clothing and armed with weapons, flooded into the room. Among them stood Officer Daniels, his expression a mix of triumph and fury. "Well, well, well," he sneered, his eyes locking onto Marcus. It seems you've been quite busy, haven't you? Panic surged through Marcus as he felt Devon tense beside him. They were cornered. This was it. The confrontation they had been dreading. "Get back!" Rainey shouted, instinctively stepping in front of Amelia as if to shield her. "You don't want to do this." Daniels chuckled darkly, stepping further into the room. "Oh, but I do. You see, I've been looking for that note, and now I have you right where I want you." Devon edged toward the back, his fingers twitching as if searching for a weapon. "We're not going down without a fight." "Is that so?" Daniels said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "You really think you can stop me?" The atmosphere thickened with tension, the air crackling like electricity before a storm. Amelia moved to the side, her face pale, as she attempted to gauge the situation. "We can talk about this, Daniels. You don't have to do this." "Spare me the lecture, Amelia," Daniels snapped, his voice cold. "You've always been a thorn in my side. But now, I'm finished playing nice." With a sudden movement, Daniels gestured to his men, who began to fan out across the room. Marcus's heart raced, and he felt the panic rising within him. "Rainey," he whispered urgently, "what do we do?" "We need to distract them," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'll hold them off. You two find a way out. Get to the vault. You're the only chance we have to stop this." "What? No?" Marcus protested. "We can't just leave you." But Rain's gaze was fierce, her determination unwavering. "You have to. If they capture me, it's over. Get to the vault and finish what we started. I'll buy you time." Before Marcus could protest further, Rainey lunged forward, engaging Daniels directly. The two began to exchange blows, Rainey moving with a skill and agility that left Marcus in awe. But the chaos quickly escalated, and soon the room was filled with shouts, gunshots, and the sound of bodies colliding. "Come on!" Devon shouted, grabbing Marcus's arm and pulling him toward a narrow hallway at the back of the room. They could hear the commotion behind them, but there was no time to look back. As they sprinted down the hallway, the sounds of the struggle faded, but the adrenaline pulsed through Marcus's veins. They were running out of time, and the world hung in the balance. They emerged into a dimly lit stairwell, the air thick with dust and tension. "Where do we go now?" Devon asked, his voice strained. "We need to find a way to decode the note before they catch up," Marcus replied, fumbling with the crumpled piece of paper in his pocket. "We have to find the vault before Daniels does." They took the stairs two at a time, the urgency of their situation propelling them forward. Each step echoed ominously in the stairwell, a stark reminder of the chaos that lay above them. At the bottom of the stairs, they emerged into an underground parking garage, the flickering lights casting eerie shadows on the concrete walls. The scent of oil and decay filled the air, and the distant sounds of muffled voices sent shivers down Marcus's spine. "Do you see any way out?" Devon asked, scanning the area. Marcus squinted in the dim light. "Over there." He pointed toward a small door at the far end of the garage. "Let's go." As they made their way toward the exit, the tension in the air thickened. The muffled sounds of Daniel's men searching the building grew louder, and time felt like it was slipping away. Suddenly, the door creaked open, revealing a figure cloaked in shadows. Marcus's heart raced as he prepared for a confrontation, but as the figure stepped into the light, he froze. "Amelia?" he gasped, disbelief flooding his senses. Amelia stood there, her expression frantic. "You have to get out of here. Daniels is on his way." "But how did you?" Devon began, but Amelia interrupted. "There's no time. The vault is just a few blocks away, but you need to move fast. I overheard Daniel's plans. He's not far behind you." Marcus felt a surge of determination. "We have to decode the note. It's the key to everything." Amelia nodded. "I can help, but we need to do it on the run. Follow me." The trio rushed through the door and out into the night, the city lights flickering like distant stars. The adrenaline coursed through Marcus, fueling his resolve as they sprinted down the street. "Where are we going?" Devon shouted, glancing over his shoulder. "To the cafe," Amelia replied, her voice a mix of urgency and fear. "It's safe there. We can decode the note without being seen." As they approached the cafe, a dark silhouette appeared in the distance. Marcus felt his stomach drop. It was Daniels, flanked by several of his men. The clock was ticking, and they were running out of time. "Hide," Amelia commanded, and they ducked behind a nearby van, just as Daniels' group passed by, their voices low and menacing. As the men moved out of sight, Marcus's breath quickened. "What now?" he whispered. Amelia looked around, her mind racing. "We need to find a way to get to the cafe without being seen. It's our only chance." Devon nodded, scanning their surroundings. "We could take the alley behind us." They crept along the shadows, the alley dimly lit by flickering streetlights. Every sound felt magnified, and the fear of being caught gripped Marcus tightly. Each moment brought them closer to the climax of their journey. Just as they were about to turn the corner, a loud crash echoed from the alleyway behind them. They froze, hearts pounding in their chests. "Did you hear that?" Devon whispered. Marcus nodded, straining to listen. The sounds of footsteps and shouts grew louder, and it was clear that Daniel's men were searching for them. "Run," Amelia urged, and they bolted down the alley, adrenaline driving them forward. They burst onto a busy street, the sounds of traffic and chatter flooding their senses. The cafe was just ahead, its warm lights beckoning them like a safe haven. But as they approached, Marcus felt a wave of dread wash over him. They could still hear Daniel's men closing in behind them, their voices filled with anger and determination. "Keep moving," Amelia shouted, and they raced toward the cafe door. As they entered, Marcus felt a rush of relief wash over him, but it was short-lived. The cafe was bustling with customers, but that only added to the chaos. They needed to find a place to decode the note, and fast. "Over there," Devon pointed to a secluded corner table near the back. They hurried over, and Amelia pulled out the note, her hands shaking. The final push. Marcus glanced around the cafe, every instinct screaming at him to be cautious. The tension in the air was palpable. They had to decode the note and find the vault before Daniels caught up with them. Amelia spread the note out on the table, her brow furrowing as she began to decipher the symbols. "This could take some time. We need to be quick." As she worked, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. He scanned the room, his heart racing. Suddenly, his gaze landed on a group of men sitting at the counter, their eyes locked onto them. "Devon," Marcus whispered. "I think they're here." Devon followed Marcus's gaze and felt his heart sink. "We need to get out, now." But before they could move, the door swung open with a loud bang, and in walked Daniels, his eyes scanning the cafe until they landed on Marcus. "Found you," he sneered, his men fanning out behind him, blocking any escape routes. Marcus's heart raced as the reality of their situation hit him. They were trapped, and the final showdown was imminent. The tension reached its peak as they realized there was no way out. It was now or never. A desperate gamble. With nowhere to run, Marcus took a step forward, trying to buy them time. "What do you want, Daniels?" he demanded, his voice steady despite the fear churning in his gut. Daniels smirked, clearly enjoying the moment. "What I want is the note. Hand it over, and I might just let you walk away." "Not a chance," Rainey shot back, stepping protectively in front of Amelia. Daniels's expression hardened. "Very well. Then I guess we'll have to do this the hard way." The tension in the room snapped like a taut wire. The cafe erupted into chaos as Daniel's men moved in, weapons drawn. Customers screamed, scattering in every direction, but Marcus, Devon, and Amelia stood their ground. "Stay close," Marcus shouted, instinctively positioning himself between Amelia and the advancing men. He knew that this was the moment they had been dreading, the culmination of their journey. Just as the first of Daniel's men lunged forward, Amelia shouted, "I've got it!" She held up the note, her eyes fierce. "If you want it, you'll have to go through me." Marcus felt a surge of courage. This was it, their last chance to protect the world from the catastrophic power hidden within the vault. Daniels narrowed his eyes, a dangerous glint flashing in them. "You think you can stop me? I have what you want, and I won't hesitate to take it from you." With a quick glance at Devon, Marcus knew they had to act fast. They couldn't let Daniels get his hands on the note, and they couldn't let him escape either. "On my count," Marcus whispered, his heart racing. 3, 2. Before he could finish, Amelia hurled the note across the calf, sending it flying toward the back door. Marcus instinctively lunged for it, but as he did, gunfire erupted. The world slowed around him. The calf erupted in chaos once more, the sound of gunfire and screams melding into a cacophony of terror. Marcus felt a sharp pain in his shoulder as he dove for the note, but the adrenaline pushed him forward. He had to reach it. They had to stop Daniels. As he reached for the note, everything faded into darkness, and the world slipped away. As the gunfire erupted, Marcus felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through him. He had to get to the note before it was too late. Time seemed to stretch as he lunged toward the flying paper, dodging the chaos that unfolded around him. Devon had instinctively shielded Amelia, but as the shots rang out, the atmosphere thickened with fear. The calf transformed into a battlefield, tables overturned, and patrons screaming, a stark contrast to the warm ambience just moments before. "Marcus, look out!" Devon shouted, pushing Amelia to the side as a bullet whizzed past, shattering a nearby window. The sound of glass shattering mingled with the cries of terror, fueling Marcus's determination. He reached for the note, fingertips brushing against its surface, but the pain in his shoulder intensified, pulling him back. He couldn't let Daniels win. Not now. Not after everything they had fought for. Marcus gritted his teeth, summoning every ounce of strength. With a swift motion, he grasped the note and rolled behind a nearby table for cover. The chaos around him faded momentarily as he opened the note, desperately scanning the symbols Amelia had been deciphering. Just then, he felt a warm presence at his side. "We need to get out of here," Amelia urged, her eyes wide with fear and determination. Devon nodded, ready to back him up. Daniels, furious, shouted commands to his men. "Get them! They can't escape." The tension in the air was palpable as Marcus, Amelia, and Devon exchanged glances. They knew they had to act fast. With a quick plan forming, Marcus turned to Amelia. "Can you hold them off?" Amelia's eyes glinted with resolve. "I'll buy you time. Just get to the back exit." "Go!" Devon shouted, pushing Marcus toward the exit, while Amelia took a defensive stance, ready to face Daniels and his men. As Marcus and Devon sprinted toward the back, a loud crash resounded from the front of the calf. The sound sent a jolt of adrenaline through Marcus. They had to hurry. But as they reached the exit, they were met with a shocking sight. Standing in the doorway was not just Daniels, but a figure behind him that made Marcus freeze. It was Clara, a former ally who had betrayed them, now standing beside Daniels with a smirk on her face. "Did you really think you could outsmart us?" Clara taunted, her voice dripping with malice. "I've been watching you, waiting for the perfect moment to strike." Marcus's heart sank as he realized the betrayal. Clara had fed them false information, leading them into a trap. "You? Why would you do this?" he shouted, anger boiling within him. Clara laughed, a sound devoid of warmth. "Because I want the power hidden in that vault. With Daniels at my side, we'll control everything." Suddenly, the calf was thrown into a new wave of chaos as Daniels' men surrounded Marcus and Devon, weapons drawn. The walls felt like they were closing in. "Get them!" Daniels yelled, and in that moment, Marcus knew they had one last chance. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the note, holding it up defiantly. "This isn't just a note, it's the key to stopping you." Clara's expression shifted from smug confidence to disbelief. "What do you mean?" Before Marcus could explain, Amelia burst through the back entrance, a determined look on her face. "Marcus, the symbols, they're not just directions. They reveal the vault's true nature. It's not a treasure, it's a weapon." Gasps echoed through the cafe as Clara and Daniels exchanged alarmed looks. "A weapon?" Daniels scoffed, but the uncertainty in his voice was evident. "Yes," Amelia continued, her voice steady. "If you open that vault, you'll unleash chaos. We need to destroy it." The tension in the room escalated. Clara and Daniels were momentarily caught off guard, and Marcus seized the moment. "We can't let you control it. Together, we can stop this madness." Just as Clara and Daniels seemed to falter, Marcus felt a sharp pain in his shoulder again, forcing him to his knees. But the pain transformed into clarity. He realized they had the upper hand. With a fierce determination, he shouted, "We won't let you win." As the standoff reached its climax, Clara's expression twisted with rage. "You think you can just walk away with the note? You'll regret this." But then, in a shocking twist, Clara turned on Daniels. "You were never meant to be in control. This was my plan all along." "Clara, what are you doing?" Daniels shouted, betrayal flooding his voice. Without hesitation, Clara pointed her weapon at Daniels, eyes blazing. "This power is mine." As the two former allies faced off, gunfire erupted between them, creating a moment of chaos. Marcus seized the opportunity to grab Amelia and Devon. "Now, let's go." They sprinted through the back exit, dodging bullets and chaos, adrenaline propelling them forward. Once outside, they hurried into the alley, their hearts pounding as they realized they had escaped the immediate danger. As they reached the street, Marcus turned to Amelia and Devon, breathless. "We have to get the note somewhere safe. It can't fall into their hands." "Agreed," Amelia said, her face determined. "But we need to alert the authorities about what's happening." Just then, they heard sirens in the distance, a faint glimmer of hope in the tumultuous night. The authorities would soon arrive, but they needed a plan. "I have an idea," Devon said, pulling out his phone. "Let's go to the media. We can expose them for everything they've done. This isn't over yet." But just as they were about to run, Marcus suddenly paused. "Wait a minute. What if Clara isn't the only one we need to worry about?" Amelia and Devon exchanged confused glances. "What do you mean?" Amelia asked. "The note," Marcus began, realizing the implications. "If Clara's been working with someone else, it's possible there's another player in this game we don't know about." Devon nodded, urgency etched on his face. "Then we need to dig deeper. We can't let this go. The fate of everything is hanging in the balance." With that, they took off into the night, the weight of the note in Marcus's pocket, a reminder of the power they held and the danger that still lurked ahead. The adventure was far from over. The night air was thick with tension as Marcus, Amelia, and Devon raced down the darkened streets, their hearts pounding with the urgency of their situation. They needed answers, and quickly. The note, with its cryptic symbols and potential to unlock a weapon of mass destruction, weighed heavily on Marcus's mind. It wasn't just a paper, it represented hope and danger all at once. "Where do we start?" Amelia asked, glancing over her shoulder as if expecting Clara or Daniels to emerge from the shadows. Devon replied, "Let's head to my apartment. I have resources there. We can analyze the note further and plan our next steps." As they sprinted through the dimly lit streets, Marcus's thoughts raced. The revelation of Clara's betrayal had shaken him to the core, but it also ignited a fierce determination to protect what mattered most, their city and the people in it. Upon reaching Devon's apartment, they quickly barricaded the door, ensuring their temporary refuge would remain secure. The living room was cluttered with old books, tech gadgets, and maps a testament to Devon's resourcefulness. "Let's spread out," Marcus instructed. "We need to decipher the note while we still have time." Amelia unfolded the note, laying it out on the coffee table, her brow furrowed in concentration. "These symbols, they seem to represent locations, but I can't pinpoint where they lead." "Maybe they're not just locations," Devon interjected, peering over Amelia's shoulder. "What if they represent historical sites, or even hidden places that relate to the weapon?" Marcus nodded, his mind racing. "We need to figure this out before Clara and Daniels regroup. We can't let them take control of whatever is in that vault." As they worked together, the atmosphere shifted from panic to collaboration. The trio pored over the note, their thoughts intertwining. The more they discussed, the clearer the symbols became. "Look here," Amelia pointed at a symbol resembling a compass rose. "This could indicate a direction north-south." "It's a map." Devon's eyes lit up. "And these markings, they correspond to these old monuments in the city. If we can connect the dots, we might be able to find the vault before they do." The excitement surged among them as they identified several key locations. "We have to move quickly," Marcus urged. "We can't let Clara and Daniels get their hands on this first." With a plan in place, they gathered their belongings and headed out, the weight of the note now replaced by a sense of purpose. The city felt alive with possibility, but it was also shrouded in danger. As they traversed the streets, Marcus felt a mixture of apprehension and determination. The world felt heavy on his shoulders, yet he was not alone. Together, they could face the threat that loomed ahead. Their first destination was an old library that housed a hidden passage mentioned in the note. As they entered the building, dust particles danced in the rays of sunlight, filtering through the ancient windows. "This place feels like a time capsule," Devon remarked, leading the way through the rows of bookshelves. "Let's find that passage," Amelia urged, her eyes scanning the spines of books filled with forgotten knowledge. After minutes of searching, they discovered a concealed door behind a dusty bookshelf. "This must be it," Marcus said, his heart racing as he pushed it open. Inside, a narrow staircase led down into darkness. "I'll go first," Devon volunteered, switching on a flashlight. They descended cautiously, the air growing cooler with each step. At the bottom, they found themselves in a small chamber filled with artifacts and remnants of the past. The walls were adorned with ancient symbols, eerily similar to those on the note. Could this be a hidden meeting place? Marcus pondered aloud, examining the surroundings. If the vault is tied to this, we're on the right track. As they explored the chamber, a sense of unease crept in. "We need to hurry," Amelia urged, her voice echoing in the confined space. Clara and Daniels could catch up with us any moment. With renewed determination, they scoured the room for any clue leading them to the vault. Suddenly, Marcus spotted a series of markings on the floor that corresponded to the symbols on the note. "I think this is it," he exclaimed, his finger tracing the path. "Let's activate it," Devon said, glancing over his shoulder anxiously. With a swift motion, Marcus pressed on the symbols in the correct order. A rumble shook the ground, and a section of the wall slid open, revealing a hidden vault, the door intricately designed and imposing. "Here we go," Amelia breathed, the thrill of discovery mingling with the fear of the unknown. As they stepped inside, their hearts raced. Inside the vault lay an array of ancient weapons and devices, remnants of a time long past. But at the center was a device that pulsed with energy. "This is it," Marcus whispered, awestruck. This is the weapon they were after. The weight of their discovery felt monumental. They had uncovered a potential source of destruction, yet they were also faced with the responsibility of deciding its fate. "Can we destroy it?" Devon questioned, fear evident in his voice. "We have to," Amelia said firmly. "This can't fall into the wrong hands." Just as they began to devise a plan, The sound of footsteps echoed behind them. Clara and Daniels had arrived. "Looks like you found the treasure," Claire sneered, her confidence unwavering despite the tension in the air. "But you're too late. This is ours." "Not if we can help it," Marcus shot back, stepping protectively in front of Amelia and Devon. Daniels scoffed, raising his weapon. "You think you can stop us? You're outnumbered." The atmosphere grew electric, each moment heavy with anticipation. "This doesn't have to end in violence," Amelia proposed, attempting to defuse the situation. "We can find a way to work together." "Work together?" Clara laughed bitterly. "You're too naive. This is about power. You have something we want, and we'll do anything to get it." As the tension reached a boiling point, Marcus felt a surge of adrenaline. They had to fight, not just for themselves, but for the safety of the city. With a sudden motion, he lunged toward Clara, grappling with her for the weapon. The struggle was fierce, the sound of their scuffle echoing in the vault, as Amelia and Devon positioned themselves strategically, ready to assist. "Don't let them take it," Devon shouted, his voice fierce with determination. The fight raged on, and amid the chaos, Marcus managed to disarm Clara, knocking her weapon aside. But just as he turned to face Daniels, the man lunged, grabbing Marcus from behind. "Now you're finished." Daniels growled, but Amelia was quick, using her strength to shove him away. In that moment, they were a team, united against the forces that sought to exploit their discovery. The fight was intense, filled with a whirlwind of emotions and physical exertion. As they battled, Marcus caught a glimpse of the weapon, pulsing ominously. "We can't let this happen," he yelled, breaking free from Daniels's grip. In a desperate act, Amelia raced toward the weapon, her mind racing. "We have to destroy it now," she shouted. But Clara, regaining her composure, lunged forward, blocking Amelia's path. "You're not going to destroy our future." Just as it seemed, they might lose control of the situation, Devon spotted a lever beside the weapon. "If we can trigger the safety mechanisms, it might deactivate the weapon," he called out. With a newfound determination, they coordinated their movements. Marcus and Amelia distracted Clara, while Devon sprinted for the lever. "Now!" he shouted, pulling it with all his strength. A loud mechanical sound filled the chamber, the weapon vibrating intensely. "What did you do?" Clara screamed, panic rising in her voice. "Something you'll regret." Marcus shouted back, adrenaline coursing through his veins. With a blinding flash of light, the weapon powered down, its dangerous energy dissipating into the air. The room fell silent, a moment of clarity amid the chaos. With Clara and Daniels incapacitated, Marcus, Amelia, and Devon breathed a collective sigh of relief. They had successfully thwarted their enemies, but the weight of their actions lingered. "Is it over?" Amelia asked, her voice trembling with emotion. "For now," Marcus replied, looking around the chamber. "But we need to ensure this place is secured." They quickly gathered evidence of Clara and Daniels's plot, vowing to expose them to the authorities. With the weapon rendered harmless, they felt a sense of victory wash over them. As dawn broke over the city, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the trio emerged from the underground vault, victorious yet reflective. The world outside was waking up, unaware of the dangers they had just faced. They had not only uncovered a dangerous weapon, but had also come to understand the weight of power and responsibility. "We did it," Devon said, a grin spreading across his face. "Together," Amelia added, looking at her friends, "and we need to ensure that this never happens again." Marcus felt a warmth spread through him, knowing that they had forged a bond that would last through any challenges that lay ahead. As they stepped into the morning light, Marcus knew their journey was far from over. They had overcome a significant threat, but the world still needed guardians willing to fight for what was right. "Let's be the change," he said, determination burning in his eyes. "Let's ensure the city is safe." Amelia and Devon nodded in agreement, their spirits lifted by the possibility of a brighter future. They had faced darkness, but they emerged stronger, ready to embrace whatever challenges awaited them. Together, they walked forward, united in purpose, ready to defend their city against whatever came next.